start recording here, and what we're gonna do first is go through the amazing. It's been 7, 8, 9, 10 days, and I've gotten 1, 2, 3, 8 questions in
Hey
total.
man, that's nearly a question a day.
Yeah, but um, yeah, the last question is from August 29th. So in the past 8 days, it's been 0 questions as well. So it.
I
Well,
think two of those questions are mine, so
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends on which perspective you're gonna take. Just for the sake of the media return, this is gonna be 5 of the week. The SBA slash NCAA. Wait, that's not a thing anymore. Podcast. Yeah, the name is old, and some of you who may be listening, usually there's like 20 people listening, will remember the name, but it's probably not gonna have anything to do with 5 topics any longer because we have different things planned. So just for the record of if you guys want to claim some TP of this potentially in the end, I'm here with Tomato, right?
yep.
Yeah, so that's Tomato, and I'm here with we're here with Nepto as well.
hello everyone.
Yeah, just if well, in Nepto's case, it's not gonna be that difficult because I think you're still the head grader.
Yeah, I am,
Yeah, so
unfortunately.
you wouldn't go deny yourself TP just because you weren't sure it was you who was on the.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't really need the TP anymore,
Oh, even
so
better yet.
I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
deny it.
But that was
But
just
yeah, I get you.
yeah, just for if there was so yeah. I'm not going to link the thread for questions in the whatever uh, t point test thread or the YouTube description because well the time is past to ask questions. Guess we can do this again in the future, but for now it's been just those 8 questions, and then depending on if anyone comes by here in the Discord call or if Nepto and Tomato find something interesting to talk about, we'll fill more time with those things. But yeah, I'll just present the question kind of to you guys and to myself, and then we can all take turns kind of answering it. And the first question is really cheap and actually quite bad. It's by Pingu. Should Van Rong stay in OKC? Let's go take a look at the page of Van Rong. Hopefully he's still in OKC, otherwise this is a waste of time. Yes, there
As a
he is.
totally unbiased commentator on this one, yes, you should.
Alright, so 1 vote for yes. Doesn't look like...
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
well, I think OKC has a nice young core going right now. They have Magnus, they have Seth, they have Cambert if he's still active. I don't really know what happened with
No.
Magny actually, but
He isn't active. He was
Okay,
an
but-
inactive pickup last season.
yeah, but it's still 3 young active players around the same age that could grow into a really strong core. They could get some pieces around, and well, I think that if he likes if he likes you guys, I guess, Kels and Kels and Nepto, and if he enjoys his time there, there's no reason to move, at least at this point. Like maybe when you guys are like year 6, 7, and nothing is still happening, then that's the point when he can bounce. But at this point, I don't see a reason to move for him, honestly.
Right, so let's just see. Van Rong's contract runs through season 58, so sort of a redundant question since if we're recording now on 7th of September, then the time to really answer that question would be in mid-November. don't really know if the extension was signed somewhere in the middle. I don't think so. I think Van Rong had a long contract.
Yeah, he signed like 2 days before rollover and has a
Ah.
1+1 contract, so he got a player option on the second year.
Yeah, so he might have asked a question before accepting
Yeah,
that
he asked
contract.
beforehand.
Oh. Well,
Alright,
then
that
it's
makes
totally
sense.
redundant then. My answer to the bingo of past would have been kinda don't care because I do not have any horse in the race. I think Van Rong is gonna be alright, but nothing really special at any point because if you keep this sort of build up, you're gonna be a waste of salary quite quickly, especially if you don't do anything inside and you're only just a mid-level guy on defense. So my advice to any player in a similar situation would be go to free agency and find the place you like the best rather than settling for what you like to do. Because if you're gonna be a career role player, you better do that somewhere you like best. Would it be championships or your mates or whatever? That's not up to me, but yeah, that would be my answer. But
I mean, you can sort of say that OKC is like season 44, 45 Lightning around the time.
no, I don't know anything about the
Because Pengu and I were
SPDL.
both first gens in Bobby's 4 uncapped team back then, and Kels joined like a year later.
Oh
Before
well,
his
yeah.
Rise to bot and everything else.
Yeah, I actually do know something about that time because I was a coach
I wasn't
until
around yet
season
then.
44. Yeah. Alright, whatever. But other than those sort of sentimentals from 10 plus seasons past, I think if you're just gonna be a 3 out of 5 player, you should go find the best team to do it on rather than try to specifically find one team for me to answer. Yeah, whatever. Let's move on to the next question. These are from Nepto. So before we look at the questions, I'm gonna ask you: do you think when you ask these questions, usually people do this, but did you have answers in mind when you were asking these questions?
I mean, from the head coach office, I know that a lot of people cannot count to 240, or in other cases, players on positions they are not supposed to be in. We had one case, I don't remember the play anymore, but he basically played like on the wrong position for a whole season in the SPDL.
Oh god.
Yeah.
But to be honest, that's like two of the two mistakes you can make with your depth chart. There's like some guys, like Danger Golding was famous for this, but some guys they just have their 7 through 11 players and they never change it. So at some point when Danger Golding was in his last season, and actually I think in Prezi's first season, they still had a player on their death chart from like the mid season 40s who had already retired like multiple seasons before. So that would kind of be a common mistake. Let's just read it out loud for anyone listening. What is the most common mistake GMs make on their depth charts? So yeah, that would be a mistake, but that's not very common. And the two other mistakes would obviously be not counting to 240 or 200 as it was, or then having wrong positions on your player.
My mind kind of went in a different direction in this one because for a second I forgot that these were similar questions. So like as a head coach, I
Yeah.
know a lot of people love running 5 guys at 48 minutes. And it was something I did myself. But actually, if you have like any serviceable, like if you're a head coach, you have a 6-man filler even, it's worth it to bump those minutes down to like 46, 47, because overall it seems to give better performance, because the AA coach just cannot play 5 guys at 48 minutes. And if you even give him like a minute of leeway, it usually works out better and doesn't foul out as much. It's
Yeah,
just like a fun bit.
yeah.
I think one
So
of the reasons is the stamina in FBB. While we set it to 100 for every player here, it's not like the players don't get tired. I mean,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
to those that watched Oko's presentation of the finals, you could clearly see that there's like a tired, okay, good, and whatever rating. So if you play them 48 minutes non-stop, obviously they will get tired at the end of quarters at least.
yeah, but Miami still won though. They were
That's true.
the team who had tired players, but they still won. So it can like leaves a lot of room to think if that even is to be trusted. If you don't think that they're gonna go down, I can't remember what's the one below tired, because there's stamina status of like exhausted or something.
Probably. I don't know what the effect of the low stamina is in FBB, to be honest.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into it, but it's the only thing I can think of because, which is why the 6-man strat with minimal minutes is yielding better results. That's like the only cause I can think of.
So yeah, Tomato thought the question would have been more in the vein of what do you think general managers do badly on their or where they have most room to improve on in their death
Yeah.
shots and strategies. But yeah, I obviously took it more as nothing concerning the strategy part of the game, just the why are the players in wrong positions. And yeah, a lot of people, to answer the question just straight off, is a lot of people, especially evident with the preseason sims where everyone fucks around with their players and starts only fillers and whatnot. Then when they try to move them back, or whenever they move players around, like this has been a copy paste stuff I give as a tip to everyone all the time, is that when you're moving players around, and then I add the caveat of usually for no reason, remember to change their positions with them when you move them around. And I've also made this suggestion in the SBAO suggestions thread that in the GM Office strategy builder you would have like sticky positions, so you can change the positions eligible if you like, but then they are like sort of linked to the player at the position on the death shot. So if you move the player up, then the position is like generally how it is in the game as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that would be the most common mistake, and the second most common mistake would be indeed not counting to 240 effectively, which is weird because if you do your death chart in the game, I know not everyone does, but most of them seem to do. There's a box above the death chart listing that says minutes allocated. 240 of 240 is what it says here, but if it wasn't, then it'd say more or less of 240. So that should be very easy to avoid, actually, especially when you're doing, well, yeah, I guess it could get difficult if you're doing something like 24 minutes for a starter and then 30 minutes for the sixth man and then 16 minutes for the other bench guy and then 46 minutes for the point guard and blah blah blah. But yeah, the most common mistake would be having awfully wrong positions, especially when it's a starting player. Like this is not an actual example, but if you have Rory McDougall on your team, he's only eligible to play shooting guard and small forward. But you also have Orlando Viloria IV on your team who's eligible to play anything from shooting guard to center. And then you swap them around and are like, yeah, they'll do blah blah blah. Then you have McDougall from shooting guard to center, and Viloria from shooting guard to small forward. And it's not like I can just deduce that he wanted them the other way around, because Viloria would have eligibility to play power forward and center. If it was just two shooting guards slash small forwards changed around at the shooting guard and small forward, that would be very easy to solve, you know. But when you have all the freak players added to the mix, then it's you always need to go confirm and tell them to fuck off and change it up. And yeah, this is accepted for now. I have not made the changes here, but the made changes here, and you need to fix this for next sim. Otherwise, I'm not gonna accept. And in the past, actually, I've ran into some problems with this, but we're gonna hopefully talk about it later, because it will be funny if we get to that part later. And your second question was, you have a history in quotes, don't know what for, of creating passing big man. Do you just enjoy the playstyle more, or do you believe them to be better than a Othello Hawkins kind of big? Uh, Surely if I believed them to be better than a Othello Hawkins kind of big, then I would have had at least similar, if not better, success than Othello Hawkins had in his career. Suppose I kinda did, because I won the MVP trophy and I won the positional awards and I won a championship back then. But no, the only reason is because um, well, let's just circle back. What did you think I was going to answer, or what sort of an answer were you looking for, and what would be your answer, Tomato?
Honestly, I I didn't expect a specific answer from you.
Uh,
That's why this question is intriguing me the most. Because obviously in the past couple of seasons with guys like Serrano and in the 40s Harklewood, and I think AW had the
Dicker.
passing center too at some point, and Serrano's success cannot be disputed. He is a two-time MVP. He made two finals with Vancouver, several semis, and I don't know if an ball-dominant scorer like Hawkins would have been better for the thing Vancouver was doing, because someone like Hawkins is always a bit dependent on the team makeup around him. He needs the ball as much as possible for the team to be as successful as possible. And if you just have like two other dominant scorers around him, then obviously he's not going to be as effective as he could be for the team.
Before you answer, Tomato, I'm just gonna say a piece about Hawkins here. Um, while Hawkins is different because he's stuck to only playing center instead of power forward and center, which is uh, terribly like a big distinction to make. Because even though it's only one position more, it's well, one position more. Uh, in the playoff presentations and by proxy in all the games they ever played, because Hawkins also has the 3-point shot, then it's not as necessary to build a sort of team around him, because he's sometimes still parked into the corner, which in my opinion isn't too good because he's the best player in the league. But, you know, that's their prerogative in Arizona, or Pigs, if he just wanted to do 3-point shooting. But yeah, Tomato, you also have had a sort of a big man, so what do you think about passing versus just scoring, I guess?
Well, Mercer spent most of his career being like the classic big man, I guess, the two-way, score inside, uh, get the blocks, get the steals, all that jazz. But actually, in his ninth year of progression, I kind of flirted with adding a bit of passing, and I liked it enough to so that now my recreate is going to be a passing big man. So I guess I don't really think it's a one is better than the other type of deal. Mm, I think ultimately it comes down to fit and the team around them. But I do think that a playmaking big absolutely has the possibility of being as good as a classic Hawkins kind, which is, obviously recently with Serrano, as Nepto said, uh, has been showcased in a great manner. I just think it's nifty, because you don't really get passing bigs often in real life. And I don't think actually that often in the SBA either. Uh, so this is like something I think it's fun to do.
Yeah, I think there's also, like I said earlier, there's room for like a distinction to be made if you only play the center position, like literally only the center position, like Hawkins did. Then passing is possibly not so effective because just how the game lays out its base strategies and base layouts, even with some of the so-called greatest of all time centers, they haven't been able to be comparable to real-life modern NBA centers at all. Well, in some ways they've been surpassing them quite easily, but as sort of a high post engine, like I don't think they've even acted as a way of like let's say 2015 Marc Gasol or much less today's Nikola Jokic, who's a lot different than anything from the era of the game engine we're playing with. But at the power forward position, then you have a little more room because supposedly you're more on the above the break. Since if you have a shooting center and let's say just one of the two or three, they're at the corners. Supposedly, this is just my imagination of playing like 1,000+ hours of fast break pro basketball. Then if your player has the ball and passes it to the top of the key, and well, your player at the power forward position is above the break and passes it to whoever it is coming up to the top of the key. If you have the option of passing or shooting when you're above the break, that's already good. One or the other is preferable to me. Like you need one of the other, one or the other if you're gonna play power forward or especially center, because if you're just an inside scoring player and you have some like even 90 jump shot and explosive athleticism, blah blah blah, you're still only gonna get the ball on the post or on the imaginary pick and rolls the game runs. That's not as effective or versatile or any fitting to like any team as someone who would have 83-point shooting like Zifa Dojbe in the past, or then some other high passing players who had played power forward or center. Then there's a much more easy versatility, and not sure if Hawkins did, but something that you can run into is that if you have another player like who doesn't pass too much, and you also have passing 35 and maybe like 70-75 handling, then you're gonna run into a lot of issues because both the players, when they get the ball in what they deem or the game deems a sort of a mismatch or a scoring opportunity, they're never going to give it up. But if they get the ball outside, then at least they're not gonna throw a bad pass because they either have passing or then they're just gonna shoot three because they have 3-point shooting. So I think it's imperative to have one or the other at least. Hopefully would much rather have above 35 passing, above 70 handling, and then high 3-point shooting if you want to have a sort of a modern big man. But yeah, to answer the question in full, I don't believe them to be better than an Othello Hawkins kind of big. It's quite weird that you picked the best big of the recent times to compared to, because no, it's not gonna be better. I don't even think I enjoy that playstyle more, but because I can have a player that scores well and often inside when he gets the opportunity and can put up 4, 4, 5, 6 3-pointers a game, then I just rather not do it with the way the game runs. Like if you have 93-point shooting and not an inside score, then you only take 1, 1.5, maybe 2 if you get lucky, 3-pointers a game. So I just, based on the thought process of one or the other is preferable rather than neither at all, I prefer passing to just plain shooting.
But if the reason why I picked Hawkins is I was thinking about the first dominant two-way big man that came into my head, and Hawkins is still quite there. I don't think we have quite someone like Hawkins in the last few seasons. Like Marcus has been good for the Vice, but
What about Jaws?
Yeah, but he's the same era.
Jaws is a different thing to me. Jaws is completely different thing.
Yeah, and Jaws to me would be the same era as Hawkins, wouldn't it?
I don't think so.
Hawkins was drafted in
42.
42, so and
Last
Jaws was
NCAA
drafted in
season or
43.
41. Jaws was 44.
Ah, well.
45. His uncapped season was 44.
Oh yeah, because Calderon had that one extra season. I guess they're different but still the same because they played a lot at the same time. But yeah, to if the comparison would be Walker Santos, then I would be even more hesitant to say it would be better because
Yeah, obviously.
I think Jaws is one of the 4 best players ever to play in the SPA, so it would be kind of hard to be better.
What's your top 4 actually? Now that you mentioned it.
Do you would want to know like is there any caveat or like in the time I've seen or just what I think of in general? Because I'm not.
Just your opinion. You mentioned his like Jaws is your one of the top 4. So like, who's the rest then?
I think Michael McGrady was awesome. That would be like mid 20s to late 20s. Mulholtz point guard who averaged like 13.9 assists with 25 points. And the Toronto, that's when Toronto won their previous championship, so it would be 28, something like that. Or yeah, that would be one. If I'm gonna put them in order, maybe Jaws is like number 2, and McGrady would be number 3, and then you have players that I'm not sure if I've ever thought about it like in the way that if you only played in an 8-team league or a 10-team league, it would be against you because you're not in charge of like the amount of players in the league or users around. But I think also what's it called? The Brooklyn guy, the famous Brooklyn guy, Kip Carson, who won all the championships there was, like held the.
Which Brooklyn guy?
Kip.
There are too many of them.
Kip Carsons is his name, I think. Yeah, Kip Carsons, because they won like when he played for 10 seasons, they won 6 championships in Brooklyn, and he also has. Let's see if I can find that. 6 championships, and I think that is also a playoff MVP. Yeah, this is like. Well, I'm just gonna go off the players I know. Well, so McGrady, Walker Santos, then of course Calderon, because I think Calderon was the best player when I joined, and for like 10 seasons since then until Jaws came along, I thought Calderon was the best player. And then it's kind of difficult between Moses McAdoo or someone like what's the MVP award is named after him, like Miles Muad'Dib.
Oh, that's an oldie.
Yeah, but I've gotten familiar with him because when we joined the league, Taiwo was always reading up on the old players, and he was like, "How is this guy not around? And he made the best player in the league's history." Blah blah blah.
I mean, he is around these days.
Yeah, now he is, but for like 10 seasons, Green wasn't in the league at all. And yeah, I also like Hazard's. I think it's his first player, Cuatro Nogueira. It was a player I modeled my like where I got the idea for my sort of a two-way inside force big originally. Wasn't quite that good, but you know, still made it in the Hall of Fame, so it's all good. So yeah, I think it would be Muad'Dib first, then Jaws second, then McGrady, and then Nogueira. Yeah, I think that's fair. And then a little bit of, well, where's Calderon then? Well, I guess Calderon is tied with Nogueira, and then you have a side of Max Hertz and Steve-O's player before Millwall. Can't remember the name. Like Guillaume Laguerre. Like a French name. Guillaume. Guillaume Laguerre.
Yeah.
Guillaume Laguerre.
What was that Steve-O's player? I thought he had the triple-double shooting guard small
Siskauskas?
forward one.
Which one?
What's that again?
Pretty sure Laguerre was Steve-O's player, and then before that he had
Maurice Crouillon.
Laguerre.
Guy.
Yeah,
But whatever was a big man.
Yeah,
I wasn't around back then, but
yeah, that's the one. French name still, so almost there. yeah. Crouillon was the one I was thinking of. Don't know who the fuck Laguerre is. Let's Google this thing. Or like
it was a
filler. Sounds like a filler. Sounds like a filler. Laguerre.
4-time defensive player of the year between 32 and 35.
Ah, okay, I see.
Nice.
So it was Pandar's player during that time you just mentioned. Yeah, but that's not who I was thinking of. I was thinking of Rouillon. Don't know. I suppose some people would just come at me and say Laguerre was better because I wasn't around then. But that's just off the top of my head the general assumption I had. And it's weird because players who have recently retired in the past 10 seasons, with the exception of like Jaws and Rasheed Rider, you just think no, they aren't in the all-time conversation. But then eventually they creep up. Like next January, someone's gonna join the league and see, wow, Hector Vuego, 11,000 assists almost. And we're just gonna be like, yeah, he was pretty bad at the end of his career, you know. Not
he
so
was overpaid.
Yeah, overpaid, overrated. Nothing good out of Fuego.
I mean, I think it's just kind of a product of how the SBA is going, like the direction. You know, there's more and more teams, there's more and more players, and the TPE just keeps less and less of it. So it's kind of just the nature of it that guys are
Yeah.
going to be putting up worse stats. But also it's like in the NBA, right? Like if you ask someone now, like who's the GOAT, it's probably gonna be like the question between LeBron or Michael Jordan. But like if you ask someone 10 years ago, like maybe someone mentioned Bill Russell still or something. So it's just gonna be like a cycle, I think, as long as the SBA has been around, and it's gonna be around for a while yet, I imagine at least.
And I suppose it depends on who you ask. If in 2006 someone still thought Bill Russell was the greatest of all time, I would say they're still likely to hold that view in 2021, regardless of what happens anywhere else. Because if they're that stuck to the idea of someone in the 60s uh, being better than anyone else, then that's unlikely to change.
Yeah, but as more and more new blood comes in, like they're gonna have different favorites, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't wait for the narrative to like change that Jaws would have been overrated.
Oh god.
Like I can't
Please.
imagine, like literally during my entire time here, like Jaws was
He was benched
the
for
guy.
2 seasons. Benched for 2 seasons. If he
I
really
still
was
count
the
it as
GOAT.
I still count as an accomplishment that we scared Town enough that he benched Jaws for EAL in the finals.
Hmm.
It was the only time Houston probably changed strats in the whole playoffs, and then proceeded to sweep us.
Yeah,
Or
and what
was it
happened?
the 4-1 one? I don't know.
Oh man, those
It
were
was
sad
impressive.
years.
Hmm. Yeah, but some of the teams we had, don't think if you're looking for a build idea, I suggest anyone listening hits fast forward like 1 minute from here. But I don't think anyone should make a player whose primary position is small forward, because you get stuck into the idea of what a small forward is, and then you just do a bad player, because either you become um, a role player like I originally planned to be, but then thought, well, what the fuck, I have 170 TP on the next guy in my class, I can't be a role player. And then or then otherwise you just become a sort of efficient, sort of high scoring forward who is not capable of being a great player. So yeah, um, nobody make a small forward, like primary small forward.
Like I wonder why that's so much the case in FBB.
I think it's because you're too far from the ball handling duties, but you're also too far from scoring as a part of the action. You're always going to be the secondary guy. Like, like in real life, in the past 2 seasons with the Clippers, how Kawhi Leonard was. But if you just never take the shot when it gets to you, that's like how I think of FBP B3 small forwards. Like you get the secondary opportunity all the time, but then your player is undecisive and looks for the better option, which sometimes there is none. Like in case of Freedom, and then to a part with Max Winchester, and then I think there's also another example. I think that one season
You
when
mean Washburn?
no, Washburn didn't play.
So you mean Winchester as the
Yeah,
SS small forward? Yeah.
Winchester way before that, and then I guess to a degree with Joe Cooper, but he still was really good playing small forward, so I don't think it really applies. But yeah, just
Did Coop ever play that much small forward? I
yeah,
remember him at some playoff series where he avoided
yeah, but
myself.
just
I
for
think he spent like at least
yeah
a couple
full
of seasons
regular
in small
season.
forward.
I think he played a full regular season as small forward in the later stages of Vancouver stuff, but
Yeah.
probably not in the playoffs as much because they always with May Jones and whoever had a lot of flexibility to change around depending on if the opposition happened to have a Pararexis or whoever on the team, so just go fuck that guy up.
I just remember the semis in season 51 or something like that or 52 with OKC against Vancouver, and like my own guy Maeda was the best defender on the team on the perimeter, but he only could go to point guard and shooting guard, so
Yeah,
Jeff
can't
only
reach Cooper, yeah.
only pushed Cooper to small forward, and that was it.
Yeah, that's a good example, yeah. Because they also had like May Jones, who could care about him, like guarding him. You can like put a Pararexis on May Jones and then you do fine. But then you have Jonathan Dragon, who could like sort of score 30 points and have 10 assists and sometimes even like 6-7 steals. And then if those are your two options, and then you can have, I don't know, Adrian Brand guarding Joe Cooper, or rookie Desire Olu. It's not so good compared to what you could do with Maeda there. But yeah, regardless, we can. This is good time we're making here. What's it say? 41 minutes. Oh hell yeah!
And we went for like what, 3 questions, huh?
Yeah, 5 remaining still. Which player, filler or straight to draft, was your favorite to make and why? Well, I've never made a straight to draft player, and I've made like 7 fillers. I don't think this excludes like actual players, even though it kinda does, you know. Let's just go to my player list here. So we have in order JJ Harklewood, Jeff Airy Bonham. I'm not gonna read all this out. This is gonna take another 10 minutes, but I suppose it would be my first player, of course, because back then I was only thinking about the vast possibilities of a basketball simulator. Even though I knew the game, it's not like I knew the meta game of what's good and what maximizing what attributes would lead to what in the SBA. So I suppose it would be my first player. But if you're asking filler or straight to draft, it would be fuck. I don't know. Someone did a thing in the NCAA tournament. Matthias Van Ullman blocked a game-winning shot at the buzzer by the Wichita State Shockers and let the Duke Blue Devils move on to the next round. And I think it was the first filler I actually made. So yeah, I suppose it'll be that. How many players do you guys have? Nepta, you have 2, and Tomato, you kinda have 2, right?
Yeah, I've barely created my second one.
Yeah.
Hard to say it. I think Max is now entering his 3rd season. We will see. Ask me again after he had 6, then I can probably tell you more about it.
Yeah,
At
but
least he made the playoffs once already, so that's a step up.
if the idea is favorite to make, as in favorite to create, then you've already gone past that. So, did you?
Yeah, then probably still Maeda, because
Yeah.
he's in the beginning it was all new, all exciting, and I basically tried to recreate myself. I'm
Do
I'm
you
not
have
a
Japanese
good
heritage?
scorer. I can play make a bit, I can play good defense, but the occasional free and that's it. Not
Oh,
much
man.
more you're going to see from myself.
No Japanese
had created-
heritage?
Nah.
Ah, okay. So that was the special sauce. All right.
If I were
That
to
was
create a
special
guy
sauce.
based on myself, he'd have like,
5'8", 190 pounds.
hey, come on. I don't know how much is that in kilograms, so I'm just gonna assume that was not nice. But
No, it
no,
would
I
be
was
like
gonna say gonna say, like,
173 and just about 80 kilograms, so sort of a
yeah.
normal size guy.
No, I was gonna go more in the vein of like 20 quickness, 5 jumping, 10
Yeah.
strength.
Amidas, can I please get lower jumping? And he's gonna tell you no because it's gonna break the game because you're gonna drive less inside. So you just be a standing trebuchet out at the 3-point line.
That would be so good.
Yeah, I wish we could kind of do that, but after we've all learned about the game more, it's not gonna make sense to go beyond the set parameters in the SPAO player creation thing.
You should just try that in Drew. Like,
Yeah.
why not?
Who cares
It's like
about
I'll just
100 more APE? How
give me
about
35
600
less.
less? 600 less. If you're not above 600, I'm sorry, you can't participate.
I just want to see my trebuchet built in the high school thing that Sid is setting up or has set up.
Yeah.
We will see if it works. I mean,
When
I showed you the build at some point, Tomato.
Oh, you're using that one. Oh god.
Yeah.
when is the deadline to create a player for Drew League? Do you guys know?
I think tomorrow.
So I gotta do that when I kind of can. Now it looks like my free agents are going elsewhere, so not gonna be a lot of talk about that during the, which is good because I want to focus on these great questions instead. Speaking of questions, we can move on to what can we users do to help you as a simmer and show our appreciation for your hard work, because this is kind of a two-part question. I'm gonna answer it in two parts. What can we do to help you as a simmer? Suppose the only thing if you're not developing SPIO would be following the rules, and especially the let me just double check because Kelsier redid some of the rule books, so the depth chart rule is in the same spot. So
They
yeah,
are still the same.
yeah, 11.3 article of the SPI rulebook where it says every depth chart must have 48 minutes allocated to every position. Your bench must account for any missing starter minutes. Starters must play a minimum of 24 minutes. General managers or head coaches that have their depth charts in violation of this rule will be given a warning to change it, and if they fail to comply, they will face further punishment. Every player on a roster must be listed with their eligible positions on the depth chart. So yeah, following that part of the rulebook is the kind of the only thing you can do to help me because, or past me, suppose, because there's whatever. Guess you can do the file work for me, but then I gotta give my TP away, so that's no good. So, and show our appreciation for your hard work. Don't really care for a lot of grandstanding and hot dogging, so just come to the sim thread and get your sim attendance TP, and on that follow the rules as well. A lot of people do some oh yeah sim time. Well, that's borderline acceptable, but
I'm always close to denying those as an updater if they're
yeah.
not first gen. If they're first gens, alright, but recreates.
Yeah, but some people they just they don't mention anything about anything that's gonna happen in the sim. They're just gonna say here for games. Yeah, I always make a, you've seen this probably before, but I always just quote them and say no, that's not worth 1 TP, so try again later or whatever. So yeah, I don't think there's gonna be appreciation needed because each time everyone tries to come up with some thankful words, it seems like they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So it's whatever. It's
to quote you from the Charlotte locker room, "Shut up, suck up."
Yeah, something like that. Suck up. Let's see. Oh yeah, I remember. And yeah, think in the same conversation. Let's see. There's one person who bothers me a lot about anything related to SBA Sims, and always at the bottom says, "Sorry, sorry, sorry, very busy. I'm sure. Sorry." Hard to take them seriously. Well, what I didn't bother to add there is obviously if they're making some strategy changes or whatever, asking a question, they obviously need the answer, so they're gonna message me about it. So why bother with the "I'm sure you're quite busy, so uh, don't mind me just dropping by. It's part of the job, you know." And someday I'm gonna reveal who it is, and you guys are gonna be quite surprised. But I
I mean,
hope.
didn't you share it in that conversation? I can't remember anymore.
No, you asked if it was Zeke, and then you asked if it was um. Well, you just asked if it was Zeke, and then Bobby asked if it was Overlord, and I said I'm not gonna tell yes or no any longer, so to help you guys out in guessing. And then Jeff came in and said it is me, and didn't
Yeah,
answer.
all
It's
right,
not.
then it
It's not
derailed
Jeff.
from there.
Yeah, it's not Jeff, but it just went sideways. But yeah, uh, if that person, quite likely that they'll be listening. Thanks for being quite alright and having good success under my sim watch. And yeah, it didn't bother me anything any more than anyone else's stuff did. It was just after, let's say, 9 months of I'm sorry, 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 sorry. It became very difficult to take it seriously. But anyways, uh, if I was to post this question to the peanut gallery here, if there was some sort of a drive to thank your simmer week or whatever, what would be your first thoughts here?
I
Mm,
have no idea, honestly.
yes,
Like I,
yes.
it's a weird thing to even do.
Yeah, the 3 second silence was quite good enough. I like that. That's a
Set up a
good.
PayPal to bribe you legally. I don't know.
Well, if it's just if you're giving away money, like what's it say in The Wire? I just seen the episode. I'll take any motherfucker's money if you're giving it away. Like, if there's no strings attached, no expectations, I'll just happily open up a public PayPal for just to take money. Why not? Anyway, yeah, there's not much. This is quite the level up question, because he's always very thankful for me trying to give him tips and trying to correct his mistakes. So it's quite the level up question to, hey, how can we help you out? No, there's no way. It's worth 12 TP for a reason, and whatever you're doing is worth 3 or less TP for a reason. Whatever. Moving on. This is a good question. Which team is your favorite team and why? Um, yeah, do you guys mind discussing this for a bit while I go grab some water and stuff?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Uh,
I'm gonna just ask you guys for a recap in a minute or two, and yeah, so on.
right. So, like for me, I guess I don't have as much experience in the SBA as you guys do. But I've always been a simple man. Like, if the logo's cool, I like the team. Uh, so for that reason, like my favorites from the moment I joined were Device and the Wild, because I just really like the logos. Okay, and the Ocelots as well. Uh, and like my last favorite team, I guess, or in my top four is Rampage, because I'm an Oklahoma City fan in real life, so like that was the thing.
Hey,
Like, hey, there's an Oklahoma team.
That
Uh,
makes two of us.
yeah, I have the awesome privilege of checking out the lottery every week now. That's my experience as Thunder fan right now. But yeah,
Yeah, I
um,
mean, when I started watching the NBA in like 2014, 13, I only saw Russell Westbrook. Was like, okay, that seems like a fun team to watch.
yeah,
And it's been an up and down ever since.
that's about it for me as well. Like I think I played NBA 2K14 for the first time, like around when it came out, and then I was like, hey, this NBA thing is pretty cool. So I started watching, and I started watching OKC because I think like my career player got drafted there or something dumb like that. But yeah. But basically, yes, I'm a logo guy. Like have a good logo, and I'll come join you because I like the team.
And for the SBDL, you told us about your favorite SBA teams, but about the SBDL,
Oh yeah.
Portsmouth or Tampa Bay?
Like it feels weird to say because I'm the head coach, but I really don't like the Tampa Bay branding. I like. I
Yes.
guess I get it tonight, but it's kind of basic. It's like it has nothing to do with anything really. Like I don't really think there are any Crusades in Florida. Like I might be mistaken, but it's just like compared to other teams, I really don't think it's that cool.
Yeah.
But I'm a big sucker for the Bombers. Like I think the Bombers are like the best logo in the league.
I think the colors could be better on the Bombers logo.
Yeah.
Like just a little bit because it's too orange. I think the red is a bit too orange to my taste, but the logo in itself is excellent in my opinion. But yeah, the Crusades, it's not relevant to even the entire country of the United States really, and B, some people, if they're hard of like not hard of faith, but if they're a faithful person from from Europe or even especially Southern Europe, they might find it pretty like not offensive, but like why is this here?
Stupid is probably the best.
And
I mean, like also a thing is
black and
like,
white is lame because Brooklyn already did that. So
yeah, and also like Crusade were kind of fucked up, at least some of them,
A little
majorly
bit,
so.
a little bit.
So
generally,
yeah,
fucked up. That's what I meant by if you're from Europe and you know the history and have faith, and especially from Southern Europe, yeah, then you realize it's not just like a we're going on a crusade like in a Monty Python film. Like no, it's not. It's not quite like that. Yeah.
Not
yeah.
quite.
But did
Like
you
I
answer
picture,
already, Nepto?
No, I wasn't already, but why don't you start? You've got more experience than me.
Suppose Tomato already started, but you know.
yeah, I just ended up talking about the logos for 5 minutes
Ah, I
because
see,
like
I see.
I
Because
don't know the teams well enough. I guess like I only know the ones I played for really. So like my way of judging teams has always been like if I enjoy the branding or not, because the rest for me is just like it depends on who's the GM or
yeah, difficult to
the head
judge if you
coach.
haven't had any business with them, you know.
So yeah.
Yeah. I think in the past my favorite team was the Houston Ravens because all my favorite people were in the locker room chatting, with the exception of Bayo and Nano. I think. I think. I know for sure they weren't there because they weren't there. But you know, in the past when I was there, I won the championship with them, and then there was Kayfabe and 11 and eventually Town, and then eventually Pete Tarell as well, and Shuin, of course, that was a lot of fun, and White Cornerback, that was a lot of fun, and I also really liked spending time with the imagery and idea of Raven's graphics. In the end, I was shipped out quite early, so didn't have the opportunity to like try and form a graphical identity or a legacy there. But then now my answer would be probably um, between Thunder Bay and Charlotte because Thunder Bay is the logo or the team I created, and the logo I purchased with my own money. And although there's been some questionable people in and around and in charge of the team in the past 15 or 13 seasons, it's still been the team I was generally most connected to, because with Tits and Plutarch and partly Dennis, I'm just gonna call him Dennis like I always did. um, I was always like on the pulse of the team, and with Charlotte I've come to spend a lot of time there now. With would it be 2 + 4? Actually, I have been on a lot of teams in my SBA career, so even 4 seasons would be a record. But if it's now 5 or now 6, then it's definitely a record, you know. So yeah, I like team. When it was first unveiled as a branding, I thought, wow, this is awesome, because sky blue, that's not used enough in sports. I think to all their other faults and shortcomings, Manchester City Football Club, they are quite nice looking in their home home shirt, especially when they had all the beautiful players like Sergio Aguero and David Silva. I think there's one more, like an extra beautiful player they had, but I can't come up with it. And then Celta Vigo in Spain, they also have the same sky blue coloring, and it's like extremely nice in my opinion. So when the aviators stuff was unveiled, and then when I uh, went to Bobby about what index colors would you like for your team, he was talking about something like lime green, and I was like,
Oh
ugh,
god.
it looks like
Oh
shit, you
god.
know. And then I also mentioned, nah, we can't do this because it's the same color as Nightmare. Blah blah blah, whatever, get over it. And then it's been nice ever since. And yeah, because got to spend a lot of time with the team, it's obviously even more nice now. Hopefully, eventually, my answer will be the Pittsburgh Iron Man because I'm now in charge of the team. But generally, I don't have like let's say it's just a business relationship for now, because there's we haven't played a game, and it's still in the off season. But
Yeah, obviously.
I would guess it would be the Fort Lauderdale Lightning or something weird for Nepto. But go ahead then.
I mean, the Lightning are the easy choice because I was officially involved with them for
Seven.
11 seasons,
11.
I think. So
Oh, you
like
played
first
there.
2 as a player,
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
another one as assistant, then 6 seasons as a head coach, and then the rest as a bit of an
Advisor.
assistant. Yeah, advisor is more or less what I'm doing right now. So I'm never totally off the team, even though Beast is leading the team. It's totally his. But we have created like a little bit of an resource pool of all the former head coaches of Fort Lauderdale for him to come back and ask us for advice if he wants to.
Mm.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
so that's the thing. But SBA wise, I mean, the Aviators also are kind of the team because they are or were for much of the history the Lightning's alumni team with
Mhm.
like Strawsack and
Same.
Sammy. I think Waddlesworth, Pingu's former player, was also on there, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Bobby just kept collecting us over and over again. Just never got around to get me.
Yeah, the only good
Another
player, and he did.
the only one that won an award out of the bunch.
Yeah, and generally the only player who played 8 seasons and never went inactive. But yeah, no, whatever, dude. Fuck.
Whatever. Yeah, but in theory, Breeze Datrin was also one of his players in
Mm.
45, so he already played 7 seasons. Oh, true. Now that I think of it. But yeah, and the other team would probably be Colorado, because I spent like 6 very long seasons on the Chiefs. From the dark days with just Curtis Davis on the team and myself through tampering scandals and a revolving door of players every season to one playoff appearance and then trade.
Some
Oh
of
man.
some of the Chiefs teams of that time, like I would be surprised if anyone else other than you or MG ever mentions them, like really again, because Joey wouldn't want to talk about his time with Colorado Chiefs, and the other players you guys had, there was like I don't know if Donovan was at the time. I think it was earlier. And the other players, like who could name them? Who would care about the Chiefs of that time other than you two people? Like it was one of the best players
were
in their
bad.
position and one of the most wanted players in the league in Curtis Davis, and nothing. Absolutely nothing. It
The
was
Chiefs just
weird.
like they kind of just like seem like a cursed franchise at this point, really.
Yeah. That's what you
With
get when
everything
you
that's always
build on
happened.
Native American land, you know?
I think season 50 was the only time the Chiefs made the postseason since 42 or
Yes.
something
Oh
like that.
man.
Yeah, the season when they had McCoy, Mr. X, and someone additional. Yeah. Let's see
There
the
I did.
Chiefs team of season 50. Funky Congo,
Yes, Congo
former,
was there after winning
yeah,
the
former
playoff MVP.
playoff MVP. Yeah.
And we had Zoo, I think, was on
Mhm.
that team as well. We had
Kelly, Wagner, Steve, and then Maeda.
I mean, poor Steve. He like was always the second thought on any team Maeda came into. First Colorado, then he got booted from the battalion for Maeda. So yeah, Stavros, if you're listening, sorry for that.
Stavros, if you're listening, should have made a better player.
Ooh.
I mean, he eliminated me in the first playoff series I actually game planned myself back in 45
yeah.
with the Lightning that buzzer beating 3-pointer after an offensive foul in the last 3 seconds. Classic FBB stuff.
At least it was not an illegal screen.
Yeah, and
It was.
if Stavros is actually listening, he'll know I've been a big fan of his since his rookie season when he kind of started the season averaging a triple double through 3 sims, and I was like, what? Everybody look at this Steve guy, and then he was ended up the season I think averaging 9.8 points and 9.9 assists, so not even a single double, which was quite funny. But yeah, I like Steve, and he was with Charlotte for a bit. Don't know if I coincided with him too much, maybe in season 49, but no, I think that would be too early. Anyways, yeah, I liked Steve, and just if I were to give him a little bit of advice, don't make a player 6'1", and you'll do much better.
Also, don't cap most of important point guard attributes at 80. That's like a bad idea.
No,
Having
Yeah.
no,
handling and
don't listen to him.
steal and
Good idea, just a different idea, you know.
I mean, true, but
In his case, maybe a bad idea.
yeah. So that's for favorite teams, I guess.
That's a bit too, like 3 more than Leflop asked, but anyways, let's get to his next question, which was, do you enjoy free agency? Not necessarily. I like the portion where I am the best player in the league, or like the most wanted player in the league, and I get to play general manager for the general managers, because I can make all sorts of demands and try to get the team I really want. That's alright. But if I were to go free agent now on Talibahili, no, probably not so much, because I would be like strong-handed a lot. Like, hey, who the fuck cares about your year 4 power forward slash center standard? Yeah, whatever.
I disagree. I think you'd be surprised, honestly. Like, sure, you may be a year 4, but like it's still a U player. Like, if you can actually convince you to stay for longer, like that's a guaranteed
Yeah,
max earning
no,
monster, basically.
no longer. You'd be surprised actually. I think there's at least 3 general managers who think I won't be max earning anymore. Just because I'm not the simmer anymore, that means I'm gonna go inactive right about in
Ah,
2 weeks.
yes,
You know?
I mean,
that
to
makes
be honest, I
perfect
only
sense.
know you as the simmer.
Yeah,
I have never seen your other stuff
yeah,
that you
but
did
that's
before you became a simmer.
like kind of on them.
Yes,
If
of course.
if you like um let's say I'm gonna just go to the GM office and see who's here. Addressed uh, Jeff, Lefty, Goliathus, Overlord, Town, Bobby, Cassie, Graves, Riley, Prezi, Robo. Well, actually, Robo was doing podcast with me before, so not Robo. And then Sid, and then Underclass Hero. All of them know me as the SPA Simmer. So I suppose 3 or 4 of the current GMs would be maybe understating it, but anyways, yeah, because in the past with the previous simmers that we've had, with Oscar, with Jogan, with kind of GLU, but not quite GLU, they've all like taken a hiatus or some sort of a break after they've been done simming. So I think it would be. I'm not sure if they ever gonna think that far. Possibly not, but I think it would be fair to assume that I wasn't gonna stay earning 12 a week each time and be enthusiastic about a league. It's just because I don't want to kind of work during the same hours I used to. Like, I don't want to be responsible during nighttime when I'm supposed to be sleeping. In the past it was alright because I had nothing to do, but now it's different. So that's the only reason I'm resigned from simming, and I've also told anyone in charge that during the winter or after the winter I may be available for it again if there's need. So whatever. But yeah, that's. I wasn't drafted first, Nepto. You say you
Yeah,
player.
neither of us was.
Yeah, you say you player, and then there's some guy called Bas El Malaini. I don't know who the fuck that is. Like,
I mean, not as bad as the Rookie of the Year selection, but yeah,
I don't know who won the Rookie of the Year.
Van Ron did.
Oh, well.
And
Oh,
I'm still
really?
a bit pissed
Oh
about
yeah,
it.
yeah. He had this thing like Andrew Wall back in the day. He also had this thing where the best season he ever played was the rookie year, but they ended up at 1,800 TP anyways. It's quite interesting. Like obviously
Crazy.
Andrew Wall eventually was a playoffs MVP with the Ravens, but just based on their steals and blocks stuff, it was the rookie season that was their best.
I mean, sounds like Mercer, honestly.
Sounds like a lot of people. Like if Lewis Crawford actually was good and was just not abused in a zone strategy, then everyone would want Lewis Crawford still. But because they know he isn't good and was abused in a zone strategy, he's not that coveted of a prize really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great having guys with big blocking on your team to have that post defense kind of stuff, but at the same time, accommodating like a McMahon with full zone defense can also have its obvious drawbacks. So
No,
I don't
but
know.
in the playoffs, I I'm almost 90% sure that you could have done anything you wanted in the playoffs and still won the championships. Also, I'm quite sure that in the second season with the Brooklyn Bullets, they never played zone in the playoffs and they still won. So it's just getting the career blocks record and season blocks record, which was important. And when you finish the 82 game regular season, none of that matters anymore. Then does it really?
Yeah, of course. If you have the talent to comfortably make the playoffs, sure, why not?
Yeah. And for Moholt, a lot of the teams he was on, with the exception of like the last season or last 2 seasons, could have made the playoffs just playing zone. No reason why not to play zone, just to pad his stats. But yeah, that's on Robo and whatever DB and who else? Lefty. I don't know. But yeah, whatever. That's our favorite teams. Oh no, actually that's enjoying free agency. You guys have been free agents both. Mercer is, well, not anymore. Or maybe?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not officially signed yet. No.
Oh yeah, so I can't take part in this conversation.
Well,
But
I
yeah.
can say that I hated free agency. Like the first time I hit free agency, I hated it. Like it was all fun the first like few hours when I like got pitches and stuff, and it was like, oh cool, people want me on their team. But then like I had to make a decision, and I had to tell like 7 people like, no, I'm not going to your team, and I hated that. Oh. And I also hated like having to choose. I guess it's just not for me. Like if I can stay on one team and have fun and be good, then yeah, I prefer that. I guess like I kind of preferred my second free agency when I was going into regression because I only got a few pitches really, so it was less like telling half the league to suck it and more like telling one guy, hey, I'm gonna go somewhere else.
So you mean you preferred this to the previous one?
Yes, because like my
Yeah,
first free agency, I was going into year 7, so I was hitting my peak.
yeah. So you were
And
the best player available, maybe?
yeah,
I think so.
I think I was.
Yeah, I think so.
And which is kind of sad. Like my draft class sucked if I was the best one there.
No, but
I
not
would
everyone
say
gets
you
to.
just earned like a maniac.
Yeah, not everyone gets to the free agency at the same time, so it's
Yeah,
really whatever.
I mean, I
Especially,
guess I just had a lot of TPE, and people thought that meant I was good.
yeah, I think with freedom in my year 6 free agency, when I first turned down Houston for Charlotte to lose to Houston, I was definitely even then the highest APE guy in free agency. So no one else had any other business first than to talk to me about joining their team because they could see the idea of 3 full seasons. To any team, that would be enough time to convince themselves, like, yeah, we gotta make a run at this. So yeah, well, I've already talked about this, so I don't know why I'm taking the spotlight from you. But this time around, I can ask because you're still unsigned, and I'm the Pittsburgh general manager. I can say that I what's the word? Inquired about your availability in free agency, but you decided better of it, and I'm interested, quite interested to see how the. I'm I'm not one who would agree with your choice, but even even if it meant you would sign to a, let's say, a team that would be competing for Pittsburgh position in the division, I wouldn't agree with the choice you're making. But
Yeah.
if you're only going to play one season, then it's alright because I spent on JJ Harklewood. I played my best and final year on a lottery team and dragged them out of the lottery and kind of ruined them for the 2 next seasons because they weren't in the lottery when they were meant to be in the lottery. But yeah, whatever.
I mean, like, it's a weird thing now too as well, because like being in the lottery isn't really good right now because there's like 5 draftees. So
Now in the upcoming draft there looks to be a lot more.
yeah, really,
Is there?
I haven't looked yet, but yeah.
Yeah, there must be like 12 at least. No, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 14 looks like to be the number. So yeah,
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. I guess a wave of recreates came in. Yeah, looking at the list. Yeah, okay, that's a lot of guys. That's true.
yeah.
All those damn straight to 199, ruining the league. Just kidding.
Do you
Coming
guys
out of
think?
nowhere.
Do you guys think anyone's been caught out by the fact that someone's done a straight to the draft player, like Evans in the previous draft here? Or do you guys think Evans would have just muscled his way to another team instead? Don't think so, personally, but
I don't think either.
yeah, I think they might have just been scared because, oh, he's got a purple name. I can't be friends with someone with a purple name because they're always telling me to fuck off. Oh, wait, Nepto has a purple name.
I have a purple name now. I'm still
Oh
getting used
man!
to it.
Oh god, I forgot already.
I still
Oh,
feel
man.
like I still feel like I'm higher in the league hierarchy than Nepto anyways. Like even though I have now nothing. Like I've got nothing. I've got a
You got
shitty,
a weird looking yellow name now.
yeah, and a shitty team that
So weird. It's
loses
so
in
weird.
the first or second round.
Like I can't get used to you being yellow and Nepto being purple and stuff. Like it's just
And
so
Bale
weird.
being red. Yeah.
Like you've been red forever. Like come on.
I like the short like 4 weeks that Nano was not green. Like when he was not developing SBAO, and then I don't know. I guess they needed Emidus needed help, or Nano was like, yeah, whatever, I can help again. But that was much better than this fever dream like currently here. Nano not being green. That's not something I've seen in like 2 years. But anyways, did you ever go to free agency with Maeda? Refresh our
2
memory.
times actually. Year 9 and year 10.
Oh well, uh, obviously you didn't enjoy free agency then.
No, actually I had a lot of pitches for my year 9 because point guards weren't really much around,
Mhm.
and I was still at like 1.1k
Yeah.
in year 9 and like 1k in year 10, I think. Something about that. But yeah, I mean, if Kelsier was here, would tell you I doomed the franchise and killed his team after he got me an award, and he would be right.
No, I think it was himself. Like until further proven, it's always the GM's fault, not not the player's fault.
The problem was a bit that I wanted that second point guard of the year, and I wasn't sure what Engine or Sid were up to.
Yeah.
So I kind of pulled the trigger right at the deadline or at
Yeah.
the opening of free agency, and went to St. Louis with Baylor, and well, we won 60 games both years and lost to the Ravens in both years, I think. And Maeda played like total shit, so he didn't get his second point guard of the year. Instead, I think it was Zeke's first one,
Oh.
which was a bit of a
Ugh.
bummer.
One of
But
7. Yeah.
one of 7 point guard of the years and 5 MVPs or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't really enjoy free agency,
Mm.
to make it short.
Yeah. To make
It's
it
fun
short,
to choose your destiny. It's not as much fun to tell people no and like have so many good options and having to choose from them, and yeah.
yeah, I think to keep mine short, like I said earlier, it's my situations were an exaggerated version of yours. I was able to tell people that they need to make 3 or more trades just to bring these and these guys in, and either they could or couldn't, and each time they couldn't in the end, so I picked another destination because fuck you for spending time. Yeah, regardless, I enjoy it, but I wouldn't enjoy it each off season. Like now that I kind of get or have whatever to be a general manager, I don't think it's gonna um, give me a better perspective on it. It's probably gonna make it a lot worse instead. Especially if there's a season where my player is in free agency and I need to deal with a lot of stuff on the team side. It's just gonna be whatever. Yeah, alright, let's do that. Blah blah blah, kind of thing.
Yeah.
The final question in the mailbag thread is advice for new players.
If I could,
yeah.
I can start maybe because I need to kind of bounce soon, so I could say
Yeah.
my part and probably just go.
Yeah, this has gone on for way too long anyway, so go ahead.
Like I think the main advice for new players is listen to your head coach, but don't listen only to your head coach. Also, just like reach out to people because most folks here will help you and talk with you about builds and whatnot. And sometimes your head coach will be wrong, so just get a second opinion. It's very easy. Like there's a billion people here who just like talking about this place. Like if you message someone, you're probably gonna get a response. Just talk with people. They know a lot of stuff about here.
Yeah, that is a very common observation, that's also very helpful. What I was gonna preface it was that I don't think any new player is going to listen to this podcast. But just in case they are, heed Tomato's advice there, and get as many opinions as you can, and try to weigh the possibilities and the positives and the negatives, and really think on what is good for what you want to do. If some head coach feels like he's controlling your whatever player or whatever you want to do is going opposite of what you're being asked to do, then don't just lay down for it. Do the player sim you want to do yourself. That's the key part, because you're not going to be on their team for too long. At the tops 3 seasons, but for most people maybe 2 seasons. So if you just do whatever they like, then you're gonna have a player of their proxy and what would have fit on their developmental league team. But then you're gonna be wondering what you want to do with your own player, which might come to you maybe when you have 1,000 TP, or maybe when you start your next player, at which point you spend 50 weeks, 60 weeks plus on the site and you still haven't yet got to do what you want to do. So just do as you like, and hopefully your player is is good enough that anyone would take a chance on your player, which is quite easy. And another advice would be understand the curve on which players develop. So when you start in the dev league, you're gonna be bad, and when you get on top of the dev league, you're gonna be good. But then you're gonna get drafted, and the guys ahead of you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years of a head start on you. So you're not gonna be the best player in the league until maybe 6.5, 7 years if you keep to it. So you need to figure out what you gotta do to yourself and in the general picture of the league to be the best player in sort of your draft class, but in your bracket of TPE in general. So yeah, just understanding the curve on which players develop and not expecting too much when you first get drafted. Some guys can put up numbers that would be similar to, wow, oh, Trae Young, he's a Rookie of the Year candidate, blah blah blah. Things you might think of real life basketball players, but in the general run of things, it's much more likely than a 1400 TP player is going to be better than your 590 TP player. So be well prepared for that. And like Tomato said, try to gather as many as opinions as possible. What do you got, Nepto?
Yeah, I think that's
before Nemto starts, I gotta say goodbye, guys. Sorry.
no problem, man.
Yeah, thanks. I had fun. See ya.
See ya, man. Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out this learning curve because, especially if you come from a high performing SPDL team like the Jackals have been the last few seasons, Hyenas, and all those teams when you have won 50, 60 games every season and then get drafted to a rebuilding team in the SBA, you will suck for a couple years probably. Like 3 to 4 seasons of 10 to 30 wins at best. And that can be a hard thing to stomach if you are not prepared for it and don't know why you don't keep improving from a first side of point. But otherwise, beside obviously reaching out to guys, I remember I talked to you, I think, back when I was uncapping about if it's actually viable to up blocking on a guard. Because I was unsure. I saw McCoy had some success, but he was a shooting guard, small forward. I was an undersized point guard. So,
yeah.
In the end, it worked out all right.
Yeah.
Cannot recommend it, but it worked. And yeah, reach out, but also if your coach asks you, because I deal with this situation a lot. If a coach asks you, what do you want to do? What do you want your player to feel like? What is the play style you are looking for? And you just say, I just want to help the team. That doesn't make the job easier for your coach to help you. Your coach wants to help you get used to the league, wants to help you be successful in the league, and for that your coach needs to know what you want to do in the future. If you are active and earn and improve, you will be helping the team regardless of what you do. But for your own enjoyment of the league, it's important to tell your coach what you want or brainstorm together with him what kind of play style you want, you enjoy, instead of just plainly saying, I want to help the team, because that will make it maybe easier for the head coach to fit you into whatever game plan, but won't help you in the long run.
Yeah, and even if you think your idea of a player is helping the team, figure out a respective, like a real life basketball player who you think of as a role player or a glue guy. Like if you're playing shooting guard slash point guard, then you might think of well, there's Patrick Beverly, and then there's Landry Shamet, and then there's like Terrence Ross. I don't know. Like that's more helpful than just going. Yeah, let's just do something to get more wins. Like it's not too difficult to come up with the idea of a player that you can mirror in the SBA. Like it's difficult to mirror a player in the SBA part of things, but at least you can get a proxy of it.
Yeah,
So
at
yeah,
least a similar play style to it.
yeah,
Like we won't get a guard like Westbrook with triple doubles night in and night out. You could, but the chances that you get 10 rebounds per game are very low on the professional level.
yeah, and I guess it goes to the same point of not aiming too high. If you think you're gonna be the next Stephen Curry, unfortunately, the only way you're gonna be Stephen Curry is you need 5 years of pro experience and the same sort of teammates that Stephen Curry has in real life. So yeah, like in real life, it's difficult to be Stephen Curry in the SPA.
Especially if you don't know your way around FBB. I mean,
Yeah,
it's tricky. I see, I don't know, a dozen first gens per season that start upping their jump shot in expectation this will help me be better at shooting jump shots. And it doesn't work straight that way. There is some improvement, but it's not only tied to purely upping your jump shot.
yeah,
And that's something that's difficult to explain to them, that while FBB is a basketball simulation engine, it has its own weird rules and style of doing things. And it's always a learning process, which is why it's important to talk a lot with your peers, with your coaches, and try to get a grasp of what you're going for, or at least try to understand why your coaches recommend you certain things for your goals.
yeah, indeed. Like on the point of jump shot, like we discussed the other day, you can make an SBA player lean on only their jump shot, but A, do you want to do that, or rather, and B, uh, there's a, let's say, a lengthy process that goes into creating a shot mix for a player, and it's also dependent on all the four players you're on the court with. So just expecting this by inputting that, it's not always so easy. So eventually understanding just a portion of the game mechanics is gonna help a long way, which ties back into getting as many opinions as you can on things, and well, partly trusting some people and maybe not trusting other people, because there's a lot of misinformation throughout the years being shared about what this or that attribute really does or helps you with and so forth. But yeah, generally there's the main advice are figure out who is a knowledgeable and trustworthy subject of your time, and then work together with them. It doesn't even need to be your current head coach. It can be whoever, if you deem them trustworthy, and especially if others deem them trustworthy on matters regarding player builds and whatnot. And otherwise, it would just be on the forum side. View as much media as you can, because that'll get you familiar with users and the players they're trying to portray. So that infinitely ups your enjoyment on the league if you know what the, the let's say the player that's called Robert Mullins, I think, is
Yeah,
talking about each week. Then you get to know them a little bit, and then you can think whatever you like of them. And then a player called Magnus Ekström, you maybe learn to know what they're kind of talking about each week. And then a player called Juhani Pakkala, you get to learn what they're talking about each week and what they think of things and blah blah blah. That also ups your enjoyment of the league once you get into the little bits of role playing part, like not necessarily posing as your created player, but just getting another sort of perspective on how others are enjoying the league and doing their point tests and whatnot.
yeah, just jumping straight in and using the immersion that some users try to create, and the world building is an easy way to get yourself sucked into this league and have a lot of fun with it. But because you pronounce it so perfectly, I would love for Daddy to pronounce his own player name. I would
Excuse
love
me?
to hear him. I would love to hear Daddy pronounce his own player's name. Just because you nailed the
Oh
pronunciation
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Deity, deity. I thought deity. Yeah, deity. Yeah, I was trying to like he's got a nickname for it. That's Puck, like Pakk.
Yeah.
That's very illogical in Finnish. Like nobody's call you Puck. What up? What up, Puck? Sounds like you're like calling out Tupac or whatever. that's not very logical. But anyways, before we go too long on this, I have something to talk to Nepta about, and this has gone on for nearly 2 hours. So thanks for watching the 5 of the Week podcast. If anyone's listening at this point, be sure to send me a private message saying you'd like to play for the Pittsburgh Ironmen starting in the next season. And for Tomato, who's not here and walking his dog or going to bed, and for Nepto. Nepto?
Yeah. So you want some finishing words? Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'll see you next week with, I guess, Danger Golding, since he's on the banner. But alright.